I can say to my new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, hey, find a keto-friendly restaurant nearby and text it to Beth and Steve. And it does, without me lifting a finger. So I can get in more squats anywhere I can. 1, 2, 3.
Will that be cash or credit?
Credit. 4.
Galaxy S25 Ultra, the AI companion that does the heavy lifting so you can do you. Get yours at Samsung.com. Compatible with select apps. Requires Google Gemini account. Results may vary based on input. Check responses for accuracy.
Today on CityCast Denver, the King Soopers strike continues, but a new lawsuit filed late last week means things are only getting messier between the company and the union. Producer Olivia Jewell-Love joins me to talk through the fight at the picket line, plus don't call it the 16th Street Mall, and listeners correct our Jurassic mistake. Today is Tuesday, February 11th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Hey, Olivia.
Hey, Bree.
Hey, so before we get into the news, we got to talk about Heyday.
Oh my God, we're like a month away.
Can you believe it? Yeah, we are. We're less than a month away.
That's
to our
crazy.
big event. It's like going to be, think the county fair, but the Denver version, the city version of the celebrating everything that's amazing about Denver.
And inside, because it's probably going to be cold.
Yes, it's March. And if
know.
you've been in Denver for at least a year, you know that March can be a questionable time for weather, but not to worry. It's indoors at Asterisk. It is an all ages, all day event. We've got a grandstand stage with amazing talent coming to join me, and our friend of the show, comedian Joshua Emerson, will be hosting the grandstand. We've got Miss Jessica, aka Jessica Lahore, doing her family-friendly drag performance and story time.
Yep. And there's going to be a coat check. So like we said, it's going to be cold, but you won't have to carry on your big coat all day.
So bundle up and then know you've got a safe place to stash it so you can go.
Never fear. We thought of everything.
Play carnival games, eat amazing food, get some deep fried goodness in your belly. Do play a claw machine where you win every time.
We'll have some freebies for you, some cool keychains,
CityCast Denver swag,
some member goodies. So join membership before you go to get some special exclusive merch.
All kinds of stuff. Also, one thing, if you are a member, if you go to membership.citycast.fm and sign up to be a member to support us, local journalists, every day, you also get discounted tickets. You get 25% off your tickets to Heyday. That's heydaydenver.com. Buy tickets now. We'd love to see you there. Olivia and I will be there. Paul and Peyton will be there.
They're going fast. You better get them now before you sell out.
Again, that's heydaydenver.com. Join us March 8th. And
we will see you there.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's get on to the show.
Let's do it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Man, what a I would say what a week, what a weekend. Still reeling from that amazing Super Bowl performance from Kendrick.
Oh yeah, those jeans.
Whew.
Those jeans.
I mean,
a girl dreams of jeans like that.
Truly. I think they're definitely back. Kendrick did it.
Yeah, he did that.
Maybe he'll come out with his own line.
I would
get
buy
Kohl's.
I would buy.
Nice.
Yeah, Kohl's. Kohl's needs that. I think
perfect for.
Yeah.
I would go to Kohl's to buy Kendrick's jeans.
I would. Kohl's is also open late. I think they really have that market cornered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also big stuff happening this weekend.
The strike. Did you see him? I drove by and saw. I saw them striking. I saw him in that edge of Lakewood, Littleton. I saw they were really out. There's a King Soopers that's on a corner, so they were on both sides of the intersection and in front of the store. So they were out in full force. And yet I still saw people getting carts and going right through them.
But I have to say, from the pictures, it looks like it was still a pretty effective strike in that parking lots were empty.
Yeah, and Safeway has been so busy.
I was going to say, I want to share my shopping experience because I went to the Trader Joe's. Sorry to that one listener. I went to
Class Trader Joe's.
I went to Class Trader Joe's in Littleton because I needed to get groceries and I didn't want to cross the picket line. And it's always busy. It was crazy busy. I mean, usual stuff was out, right? Eggs, but milk, bananas, some whole sections of fruit were gone. And I overheard one employee telling a customer, yes, that Saturday was the busiest that Trader Joe's had ever been since it opened.
Oh, wow.
So
which one was it?
It's across kind of from Southwest Plaza Mall.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I go to. Yeah.
In Littleton. And I was talking to my checker when I was checking out, and he was like, yeah, it's really exciting for us, but really we want to express solidarity with the workers over there. And I thought that was really cool. But he just said, yeah, it's just been super, super busy. A friend of mine needed to pick up a prescription at King Soopers and she was like fretting about it all weekend. And I was like, I bet if you just walk up and talk to the picketing employees, they'll understand. And she did. She said she went up and said, I just need to go in to get a prescription. And they were like, we understand. So I think that's part of this that's really interesting is that the workers are not trying to force folks to do anything. They're just asking for solidarity, but you got to do what you got to do. So
right. I mean, also sometimes it's not realistic to get that stuff switched really quick.
Right away. Totally. So something to think about in the next couple of weeks, because I think the strike is we're in day 6.
Yeah.
As of this recording. So it's supposed to last for 2 weeks and we'll see what happens from there. But
yeah. So Friday night, we got some news that like the King Soopers itself is filing a lawsuit against the union for unfair labor practices. Can you kind of explain what's going on? I'm very confused.
This was super interesting. So the press release from the company reads, quote, today King Soopers filed a federal lawsuit against UFCW Local 7 for unlawfully forcing the company to bargain with labor unions from Washington and California that do not represent its associates to push an impermissible agenda at the bargaining table. So the company goes on to allege that it continues to bring its last, best, and final offer to the union, but they say the union will not bring that offer to employees, which we heard from.
Yeah, that's what was happening on
Kim Cordova.
The show we brought last week when we talked to the president.
Yeah, the president of the union, Kim Cordova, said that because they're in the process with these unfair labor dispute issues, these bargains it's non-negotiable at this point. So King Soopers went on to claim in this press release that the union has, quote, chosen to serve the interests of outside groups with no stake in the well-being of King Soopers associates or the communities they serve. And the union responded. So the union responded with its own accusations and said, quote, in the frivolous lawsuit, King Soopers makes claims that UFCW Local 7 is, quote, forcing King Soopers to bargain with other union locals and with its competitors. And they say, actually, King Soopers invites its competitors, Safeway Albertsons, to sit at its table for bargaining and to join its private caucus time. The union vigorously denies any allegations that it is forcing King Soopers to bargain with any local union other than Local 7 and will zealously defend against any attempt to prevent the workers from securing a fair contract. So it's kind of they said back and forth at this point. And I think we're going to continue to see how this plays out, whether that's in a courtroom or at the bargaining table.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I also heard some news last week that the strike had expanded to more stores.
Yeah, to a couple more stores. I think it was in Pueblo.
Yeah.
So it's continuing. It's like at various different. So what I understand is different stores were participating in it based on their contracts.
Okay.
So when their contract is up, they may participate in the strike, I think, if they decide to. But if they still are living out that contract, there's no reason for them to strike. So I don't know, maybe we'll see some more as these contracts expire.
Okay. And the strike is 2 weeks?
Yeah, that's what the UFCW Local 7 said initially. And as far as we know, that's still it. So I think it's through I guess we're in day 6. So we've got another week to go. And if you missed it last week, we'll put a link in our show notes, but I had a conversation with UFCW Local 7 President Kim Cordova, as well as King Soopers President Joe Kelly. So if you want to get a feel or a deeper understanding for the stakes on each side of this, I thought it was a really informative conversation. I learned a lot from both of them on what's at stake from both the workers and the company. This episode is brought to you by Denver Health. Did you know that Denver Health is home to one of the most comprehensive pediatric care systems in Denver? From bumps, bruises, and fevers to more serious conditions, Denver Health's pediatric urgent care is there for families when their little ones need immediate attention. But sometimes a child's care requires more than an urgent visit. That's where Denver Health's inpatient pediatric unit comes in. As part of a level 1 trauma hospital, this specialized unit is equipped to handle complex conditions, ensuring children receive expert, quality care from board-certified pediatricians that you can trust. With providers trained to treat kids from newborns to teens, families can trust Denver Health's pediatric team to deliver comprehensive, compassionate care when it matters most. To schedule a pediatric appointment, call 720-928-2127. That's 720-928-2127.
Folks, it's Paul here. I want to tell you about Heyday. Heyday is CityCast Denver's first big event. We've never done something at this scale before. We've never had the resources. But you know what? We convinced our bosses to let us do it. And I can't wait to see you all there. It's going to be amazing. Coming this March, Heyday is like a state fair, but it's for the city. You could call it maybe a city and county fair. That's what I've been calling it. No one else seems to like that. But it's designed to celebrate everything we love about Denver. We know you love it too. There's so much to talk about. What I want to talk about is the food. Churros, nachos, popcorn. I eat so much popcorn during the week. I have my favorite flavor combinations. I would love to tell you about them at Heyday. Hot dog sliders, vegan tamales, pretzel bites with provolone fondue. These are carnival classics with a Denver twist. That's what this event is all about. Bring your kids, bring your friends, bring your loved ones, bring your mom. Down at the Asterisk Building, March 8th. It's all day. Get your tickets now. They're affordable. If you become a member, they're even cheaper. HeydayDenver.com. Get them now.
Okay, our next topic. The beleaguered 16th Street Mall.
Oh, gosh.
Or is it? I mean, is it a mall?
What are we calling it?
Is it a mall, Olivia?
I don't know. I think it depends on who you ask.
Who's been talking about it?
Yeah, so Denverite put out a story Monday morning about the 16th Street, possibly formerly a mall, discussing if it is time for a rebrand. And according to this article, there's mixed opinions. So they talked to a bunch of kind of mainstays in the city about what they think. And it was kind of a mixed bag, which I think is kind of the consensus if you ask people about anything. But my favorite was they asked former Mayor Wellington Webb about a new name idea. He suggested 16th Street Mall.
He's basically saying, keep it as it is.
Yeah, that was his. Friend of the show, Kyle Clark from 9 News suggested the Mile High, even though he noted that technically it's a little bit over a mile. But really, the reason they're thinking they need a rebrand is because there's apparently some confusion over calling it a mall.
And I think this has to do with the definition of a mall evolving.
Yes. So apparently there's kind of the confusion between a shopping mall and a DC area mall,
the mall on Washington, which is a giant open area where crowds gather.
In the article, they quoted Merriam-Webster, usually a public area often set with shade trees and designed as a promenade or a pedestrian walk. So 16th Street Mall, you could kind of see as both because it's got the shopping, the pavilions, the shopping area.
Yeah.
And as they pointed out, it used to have the shops at the Tabor Center, which was also
an enclosed mall.
Yeah.
On the mall.
Yeah. So now it's kind of a weird mix of both.
Yeah, again, I think it's an evolution of the word. So if you're the way that Merriam-Webster described it reminds me of sort of an 1800s Gilded Age Victorian era time when maybe walking down a promenade was a public space where people gathered, and assumably people were selling things along that. And as we know it today, it's more of the enclosed shopping center that's what I would assume people think, right?
But I feel like these outdoor malls are a thing because I'm from Kansas City, and in the suburbs of Kansas, there are these outdoor mall things that have streets that have little if no cars, and you can walk around outside, and there are shops instead of walking inside a mall, it's open air. It's an open air mall.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so that's what I always assumed the 16th Street Mall
was referring
to.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I always assumed it was like that. Shops and food and stuff like a mall, like a shopping mall, but just outside instead of under a roof.
So it can kind of be particular to what you sort of grew up with or what your built environment looked like.
Yeah.
I have to say from the urban planning perspective, what I learned is it's a trend that sort of flips back and forth every decade or so. So sometimes something will be a shopping area and it's a mall and it's enclosed. So for instance, Cherry Creek Mall, as folks know it, is an enclosed mall. It didn't start out that way.
Right.
It was originally what you're more describing. And then folks will be familiar, something you've seen more in the last, I'd say 20 or 30 years if you're from Denver, is think of South Glen Mall was torn down and became the streets at South Glen. It became the thing you're describing.
Yeah.
the outdoor shopping area. Belmar is probably one of the greatest visual examples. Folks who grew up here would know it as Villa Italia Mall, which was this great themed enclosed indoor mall. Tore it down, built an entire new neighborhood that its city center was sort of like the shops. There's a Whole Foods and a Target, but also tons of little independent as well as chain shops. But it's just this sort of trend and planning back and forth to do the indoor mall, then the outdoor mall, then the indoor mall, then the outdoor mall.
Right. But I want to kind of get back to this idea of the like rebrand. So this is like something that Mayor Mike Johnston himself has dropped the word mall from his like, you know,
when he talks about
his vibrant rebrand of downtown and like talking about the mall and like it's almost done and he's not calling it a mall anymore. And it's harkening back, like in this article, they're talking about all these different areas where they're trying to rebrand, like DIA, you know, a few years back, they called it DEN? Is that what they, I mean, nobody calls it that. And like, they pointed out like the Stapleton neighborhood and like, you know, because it's KKK now, stuff.
Right. Like, it's now Central Park, but it was originally named after the airport, which was named after a mayor who was an active member of the KKK.
Yeah. So there's like just a lot of examples of this in our history.
I think rebranding is just hard in general because you're going up against colloquialisms or cultural understandings between people of how. I think about this with neighborhoods, obviously, is probably the biggest example. Folks who maybe grew up here or been here a long time may still call the Highlands the North Side. And that's a very political conversation because it's about identity and culture. And this is a little bit different in that it's just like they're actually trying to wholesale rebrand this thing because it's not had a great couple of years.
Well, and I also think that's a huge part of it. I mean, especially in this article, they're opening up with talking about like, I mean, even just the past month or so, 2025 has not been a good start for the 16th Street Mall.
We had stabbings and deaths on the 16th Street Mall. I don't want to undermine that situation. It was really traumatic for folks, understandably.
It was. And I think the construction itself has been really hard. You know, it's just been a really ugly mess for a lot of months, you know, and I think we're coming up on the tail end of it. But
I mean, we've seen that firsthand with some of the restaurants that we were going to. They're no longer there anymore.
Struggling, going away, sitting empty. It's like not a great look. So
you can see why they want to rebrand it for many reasons. Is like this name is attached to maybe an identity that is just not an easy sell.
Right.
You know,
right.
I think I'll probably still call it the mall because I'm an ancient Denverite and I
know
feel weird calling it something else, but
I know. I haven't even been here that long. And I feel like I'm already on that like DIA train and like, you know, calling it stuff. But I'm trying to think of like what like some fun names for it could be.
Because maybe there's something that's just way catchier.
But I'm like trying to think, you know, that area, the like 16th Street, you know, kind of through the heart of that area. I don't know. It's so interesting. I'm thinking maybe they should like play into that like car-free aspect because that's something people like so much. But then there's like the giant buses going through it. So that I'm like, I don't know. I think maybe we should open up the hotline for people to send us their 16th Street, don't call it a mall, new names.
The 16th Street, don't call it a mall. What is a mall hotline? 720-500-5418. Call, leave us a voicemail. Also, if you're a little shy, you can always text us as well.
Or
email denver@citycast.fm. We'd love to hear what you think about the name, the renaming. Should we rename it? Does the name matter to you? What do you think of when someone says mall? It's a big conversation. Let us know. Again, the number is 720-500-5418.
Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why MyLowe's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join MyLowe's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. During tax season, your personal info travels to a lot of places. Between payroll, your tax consultant, and the IRS. If your W-2 gets exposed, that's just the ticket for identity thieves. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed or your money back. Don't let identity thieves take you for a ride. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
We always love to hear from you, our brilliant and hilarious listeners, about the things you care about. So every Tuesday, we try to share a comment or answer one of your questions that's come through this CityCast Denver hotline. And we've got a correction to make. Unfortunately, our producer, Paul Caroli, is not here directly to address, but last week we talked about this new dinosaur-themed experience coming to Zeppelin Station, and it's called Clever Girl. And I asked Paul, why is it called Clever Girl? And he said it was a reference to Jurassic Park, but the explanation he gave us was not the correct scene in Jurassic Park. Is that what we understanding?
Who knew we had so many Jurassic Park aficionados?
I know.
Listening?
Shout out to you guys.
My God, the amount of messages always, but
it's a big movie for folks.
It is. I mean, you guys knew. You guys had it on lock immediately. So, I mean, I just picked one of these out from our friend JD of Left Hand Right Brain podcast.
Friend of Paul, friend of the show.
Yeah, Paul's buddy. Love to hear from him. He's going to set the record straight for us. So let's hear from JD to explain what actually happens in the Jurassic Park movie. So we just once and for all, the origin
of Clever Girl.
Once and for all, we know what's happening.
Okay.
Hello, CityCast Denver. This is JD from Lakewood. I'm calling in reference to your Friday episode and Paul's butchering of Steven Spielberg's massive 1993 blockbuster, Jurassic Park. In the episode, Paul says that the reference to Clever Girl is from the scene where the raptors open the door to the kitchen in the Jurassic Park facilities, but in reality, it is actually when the character Robert Muldoon, who is the game warden of Jurassic Park, is hunting the velociraptors in the jungle, and he is hunting them, and he sees he sees a raptor in front of him, but then is flanked by another raptor, and he makes the reference of the raptor being a clever girl because he's acknowledging that it is in fact, superior hunter. So I don't know if Paul's suffering from some kind of Mandela effect or some other kind of mind-wasting disease. Maybe he could look into using nootropics or something to help his brain function in the future. Love this show. Thank you for doing it. Love everything you do, and thank you for taking my call.
Wow. Thank you, JD.
Thanks, JD, for that extremely specific description. I have to say I have to revisit. I don't think I've seen Jurassic Park since I saw it in the theater when I was 13 and you were yet to be born.
I was just a twinkle in my mama's eye.
But a lot of you did reach out to us, and we appreciate it. I actually even got an email in my inbox from a listener named Carol that was like, excuse me, does Paul know? And I said, well, Paul knows now. So
Paul, and Paul's not here to defend himself, but we are here.
We had to address the correction.
So thanks, JD, and everyone else who knew.
Well, I think Paul was talking about maybe we'll do a rewatch of the movie before we go when this thing opens.
Yeah. So we can see how historically accurate this dinosaur thing,
this
$5
moment.
margarita situation is going to be. So we'll let you guys know.
Again, if you have any comments or questions about previous shows, give us a call, 720-500-5418 on the Clever Girl hotline, 720-500-5418. Olivia, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Bree.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed this show, why not take a minute to tell your favorite mall rat about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our morning newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. And if you love the show, come see us in person at Heyday, an indoor fair with urban flair on Saturday, March 8th. Get your tickets now at heydaydenver.com. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See ya. Again, the number 720. Sorry, I about gave my own phone number out.
Bree Davies' personal cell phone number is